The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli is not just controversial, it's perhaps the most misunderstood book ever written. It has been vilified for promoting cunning over conscience, manipulation over mercy. Written in 1513, during one of the most politically volatile eras in European history, The Prince was never meant to entertain. It was crafted as a manual, blunt, unholy, and surgical, for surviving in a world that devours the naive. But to understand why this text still haunts politics, psychology, and leadership to this day, we must start with the world it was born in. Florence, early 1500, a city under siege by shifting empires, collapsing republics, and papal schemes. This wasn't just the birthplace of the Renaissance, it was a chessboard soaked in betrayal. Amid this turmoil lived Niccolò Machiavelli, not a soldier, not a noble, a civil servant, a diplomat who watched men with swords smile over dinner only to strike the next day. He served the Florentine Republic until its fall in 1512, when the Medici family returned to power, and with them came vengeance. Machiavelli was arrested, tortured, and exiled to the countryside. He had nothing left. No title, no position, just ink, paper, and rage. And with those he began writing not a fantasy, but a survival guide. The Prince was not a call to cruelty. It was a field manual for power, stripped of illusions. In a perfect world, good men would rise and evil ones would fall. But Machiavelli didn't live in that world, and neither do we. One of the first truths the Prince forces us to confront is unsettling.
A man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him.
It is easy to dismiss these words as cynical, until you meet the man who proved them with his blood. Marcus Tullius Cicero, Rome's greatest orator, a philosopher, and a defender of the Republic. Born in 106 BCE, he wasn't a soldier, he wasn't born into nobility, he was a man of words. And for a time, Rome listened. He rose through the ranks by the force of his mind, not the sword. He exposed conspiracies, tamed corruption, and held firm to the dream of a free Roman Republic. But Cicero had one fatal flaw. He believed virtue alone could defeat ambition. When Julius Caesar marched across the Rubicon and seized power, Cicero hesitated. He didn't rally troops. He didn't take sides with full force. He hoped the Republic could survive through principle. Even after Caesar's assassination, Cicero placed his faith in another man, Octavian, the adopted heir of Caesar. Cicero thought he could use the young man as a pawn to stop Mark Antony and restore order. He misjudged him. Octavian didn't want to save the Republic. He wanted to rule it. And when it came time to form a pact with Mark Antony, Cicero's name was the first they wrote on the kill list. They found him fleeing down the coast, an old man in a litter, when the assassins caught up. Cicero didn't resist. He looked them in the eye and offered his throat. They killed him on the spot. But the story doesn't end there. Mark Antony's wife demanded his hands be cut off, the very hands that wrote speeches against her husband. His tongue was torn from his mouth and nailed to the forum as a warning to anyone who believed that words alone could shape the world. He who clings to virtue in a corrupt world is not respected. He is devoured. Cicero died with dignity. Octavian lived and became Augustus, Emperor of Rome. So before you praise the noble, ask yourself, do you want to be right or do you want to win?